We are here today to discuss the sentencing hearing in the United States versus Michael Molley. I am the Honorable Kristen Mertens presiding. Mr. Molley, you have been convicted of conspiracy to possess heroin with the intent to distribute, which has a maximum penalty of 10 years to life and a $4 million fine. There will be other factors taken into consideration, so let's review your case. On March 3, 2005, you pled guilty to count 1 of this charge, and this is your sentencing hearing. I also see that you entered into a plea agreement in return for dismissal of count 2 in the original indictment. The government is recommending a sentence below the mandatory minimum because you provided substantial assistance to the government. I will use my own discretion in this ruling. From reviewing the investigation report, I see that you have had multiple offenses over the last 15 years, whereby you were given probation on your first offense, were discharged early, and 2 years later offended again, resulting in imprisonment, but not before failing to return to court while on bail and offending yet again on a separate charge. Finally, in 1997, you were imprisoned for third-degree felony robbery, and while in prison, you received 5 disciplinary reports for threatening and disturbing the order of the facility. Mr. Molley, you are a violent and selfish individual who has been given multiple chances to reform. Probation, a state substance abuse program, an outpatient drug treatment program, pre-GED program, as well as vocational training while incarcerated. Your multiple arrests, court hearings, incarceration, rehabilitation, and vocational training that you made little use of are an overloaded court system, wastes resources and taxpayer dollars. Additionally, you leave behind 2 dependents who are now on welfare and are a further burden to law-abiding taxpayers. For these reasons, I am sentencing you to 15 years in prison with supervised release of 10 years after you serve your sentence. At the time of your release, you will report to a probation officer and participate in a drug testing and treatment program. While this sentence will cost the taxpayers money, I believe you are the prime candidate for incarceration given your history and lack of desire for rehabilitation. I will not be assessing any fines because I do not want to place a further burden on your family more than you already have done so. As a felon, upon release, you will not be eligible for federal benefits for a period of 5 years. Employers shy away from convicted felons, so any chance of bettering yourself through formal education is slim. So I suggest that you take every advantage of vocational training available and take it seriously this time. Additionally, you have lost the right to serve on a jury, and you will not be allowed to hold public office upon release. In the state of Texas, you will have lost your right to vote for a period of 5 years after release, and you can only possess a firearm in your residence after that same period of 5 years. In summation, you are hereby sentenced to a period of 15 years of supervised release for a period of 10 years thereafter. No fine will be assessed to reduce the burden on your family. Mr. Molley, you will be 51 years old when you are released from prison, over halfway through your lifespan. I hope that when you are released, you make something of yourself other than a career criminal. We are adjourned.